My name is Eleanor Hart, and I was only 24 when the village decided my words were more dangerous than a thief's blade. They called me insolent, reckless, a heretic, all because I dared to ask questions in a place where obedience was demanded more fiercely than faith itself. It began with whispers in church. I had asked why infants, pure and helpless, were punished by heaven for sins they never committed. I had wondered aloud why the poor suffered endlessly in this life, while the rich claimed that joy would be waiting only in the next. I did not blaspheme. I only asked. But questions once carried to the wrong ears become poison. The vicar branded me heretic. The bailiff summoned me to trial. And when I stood in that stone hall, the council already knew my fate. The punishment was merciless, simple. 10 lashes of the whip, delivered in public at the pillar of discipline. The day dawned gray and heavy with clouds that threatened rain. The entire village gathered in the square, drawn as much by duty as by curiosity, some even by hunger for spectacle. Neighbors who once greeted me with smiles now looked at me with hard eyes, as if they had never known me at all. At the center of the square stood the pillar, a column of scarred stone where many had suffered before me. Its surface bore the marks of rope and flesh, grooves carved by countless punishments. My legs trembled when I saw it. It was not the sentence that broke me. It was the sight of that stone, waiting to embrace me like a cruel altar. The guards dragged me forward. My dress clung to me in the damp air, thin linen that offered no shield. My hair, long and pale, was tied back roughly, so that every villager could see my face. I held my chin high, though inside my heart pounded like a drum against my ribs. A hush fell as I was pushed against the pillar. The bailiff read the charges aloud. Heresy, insolence, defiance of holy order. Each word was a stone cast at me, a wound that cut deeper than steel. Ropes were wound-tied around my wrists and stretched outward, binding me to the cold, rough surface. The stone bit into my skin, pressing to the thin fabric of my gown. I closed my eyes for a moment, breathing the damp air, and felt the weight of the crowd's judgment heavy on my back before the whip even touched me. Then I heard it, the leather uncoiling, the rasp sharp as a serpent's hiss. My stomach twisted. The first lash cracked through the air and landed across my shoulders. Fire exploded on my skin. My body lurched against the ropes, a gasp torn from my throat before I could stop it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The second lash struck lower, a burning stripe across my back. My knees buckled, but the ropes dragged me upright again. Pain radiated through me like waves, and already I tasted blood where I had bitten my lip. The third lash sliced diagonally, tearing fabric, kissing flesh with fire. A cry escaped me, loud and raw, echoing against the stone walls of the square. I heard children turn their faces away, but their mothers did not. Their eyes watched coldly, as though my suffering fed something deep inside them. The fourth lash fell, cruel and deliberate. The world narrowed to agony. Sweat mixed with rain on my skin, every nerve alight with torment. I thought of my mother's voice, long gone, whispering to stand strong. I clung to that memory like a drowning soul clings to driftwood. The fifth lash struck across old wounds, reopening them, reminding me that flesh never forgets. I shuddered violently, my pride cracking along with my skin. My breath came ragged, each inhale a punishment on its own. The crowd shifted uneasily. Some eyes glowed with satisfaction, others wavered with unease. But no one spoke. The sixth lash fell. A sob burst from my chest before I could strangle it. The bailiff smirked, savoring the sound, pausing just long enough to let the villagers drink it in. The seventh lash came with a sound that split the square. It landed diagonally across my back, biting from my shoulder blade down to my hip. My body arched violently, the ropes creaking, my cry caught halfway between a scream and a sob. The pillar was the only thing keeping me upright now. My knees threatened to give way, but the village would not allow me the mercy of falling. I felt their eyes, hundreds of them, pressing down on me. Some leaned forward, hungry for my collapse. Others averted their gaze, ashamed of their curiosity. In that moment, I understood that the punishment was not just for me. It was for them. To remind them what happens when a woman dares to speak aloud. The eighth lash cracked like thunder. It tore through me, sharp as a blade, igniting my nerves with searing pain. This time, I could not hold back. A scream ripped itself from my throat, raw and jagged, echoing against the stone buildings around us. The sound startled even me. It was not the scream of a heretic. It was the sound of the soul refusing to disappear quietly. I heard murmurs ripple through the crowd. Mothers clutched their children closer. Men whispered, some with satisfaction, others with unease. The bailiff paused for a heartbeat, savoring the silence, letting my scream linger in the air like smoke. He wanted them to remember it. He wanted them to see me broken. The ninth lash followed swiftly, crueler than the rest. My body sagged forward, my head hanging low, blonde strands falling across my face. I could no longer distinguish faces in the crowd, only blurred shapes through tears. But I could feel their stares, sharp and unrelenting. The whip tore through what remained of my gown, leaving my skin bare to the damp air, to the rain, to the eyes of everyone I had ever known. Shame and pain became one, wrapping around me like chains. My breath came ragged, shallow, each inhale cutting into my chest like broken glass. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the pillar itself. But the ropes held me there, forcing me to endure, forcing me to be seen. And then, the 10th lash, the final stroke. It fell with a weight that was more than leather. It was centuries of obedience crashing down upon me. It split the air, ripped through fabric and flesh alike, leaving me shaking, trembling, every nerve screaming. For an instant, I thought the world would go black. Then silence. The whip hung still. The square grew quiet. So quiet I could hear my own ragged breaths, the drip of rainwater down the pillar, the shuffle of feet on stone. Sentence fulfilled. The bailiff declared, his voice cold, triumphant. The ropes were cut. My arms fell limp to my sides, heavy as stone. The guards gripped me before I collapsed completely, holding me upright for the crowd to see. My gown hung in tatters, blood mixing with rain, streaks of crimson across pale flesh. I stood there, swaying, every breath a torment. The villagers stared. Some smiled faintly, satisfied. Others looked uneasy, shifting from foot to foot. A few dared to pity me, their eyes softening, but they quickly turned away, afraid to share my fate. And then, slowly I raised my head. My voice was gone, stolen by screams, but my silence spoke louder than any words could. My eyes found the bailiff's, and though I could barely stand, I let him see the fire that still burned within me. He had broken my flesh, but not my spirit. That night, they left me on a straw pallet, tossed aside like refuse. My back burned, my body shook with every breath, my tears soaking the rough cloth beneath me. But as the hours passed, something grew inside me, a clarity I had never known before. They had shown their strength. They had proved their power. But what they could never touch was the truth. They could lash my skin until it tore. They could chain my body until it rotted. They could brand me heretic, sinner, traitor. But they could not strip me of thought. They could not burn the questions from my mind. Truth does not vanish with the crack of a whip. Ideas do not bleed. And defiance does not die in silence. As dawn crept across the sky, light spilled into the cell, soft and golden. My body was scarred, my voice broken, but my spirit stood tall. The pillar had not destroyed me. It had forged me. And so I tell this story not as a confession, but as a warning. They can break your body. They can brand your name, but they cannot claim your soul. What do you think? Backhand index pointing right if you were in my place. Would you have stayed silent or spoken, knowing the whip awaited you? Leave your answer in the comments. And subscribe for more stories of medieval punishments, forbidden truths, and untold lies from the past.